Hi, are you trying to decide whether to move to Salt Lake County? What does it cost to live here? Today I'm going to give you a quick overview of the cost of living in the Salt Lake Valley, and I'm going to cover the economy, healthcare, water quality, air quality, weather, crime, the rental market, and the overall housing market right now. Hi, my name is Robert Luke, and I've lived in Salt Lake County since 1994. I moved here from the Bay Area of California and bought a home in the southern part of the county, or as we call it, the South Valley. I've been a realtor in the area since 2005. Today I'm going to give you a very quick overview of the cost of living in this valley. To do that, I've gathered information from various sources, both private and government. One caveat: the increasing gas prices over the last year have affected almost all prices, from new construction to food to everything. Future gas prices will play a major factor in costs, but the comparisons of Salt Lake County to the national averages should stay consistent. The economy. Overall, the economy in Salt Lake County is excellent. We're one of the fastest growing counties in the nation. The unemployment rate is very low at 3%, which is about half the national average of 6%. The job market has increased 1.5% over the past year. It's expected to grow about 40% over the next 10 years. The Salt Lake County sales tax rate is about 7.25%, while the average Utah sales tax is 4.85%. And the state income tax is around the national average of around 5%. Healthcare. The healthcare costs in Salt Lake City are very close to the national average. We have approximately 233 physicians per 100,000 population in the valley. The U.S. average is about 210 per 100,000. And there is a huge market for natural healing specialists in the Salt Lake area. Water Quality Index. There's an EPA measurement of watershed quality, which is apparently directly tied to the overall quality of drinking water. Salt Lake County has a score of 68 out of 100, with a national average being 55. By the way, the higher the number, the better. Air quality. Similar to the water quality, Salt Lake County scores well on air quality, with an overall rating of about 67 out of 100, with the U.S. average being about 58. Again, the higher the number, the better. Now, Salt Lake County is in a valley, so there are periods of time in the year when there is a temperature inversion. I notice it most in January. The other factors that affect air quality are smoke from fires. Over the last several years, we've had a lot of fires in the Pacific Northwest and in California, and eventually that smoke does flow east into the Utah area, so you do notice it in those days. The drought in the western U.S. also increases the number of fires. People who are most affected by air pollution may want to live in the higher elevations of Salt Lake County versus the lower locations. There are a lot of homes that are built on the bench at a higher altitude than the rest of the valley. There's even a housing development at the top of a mountain called Suncrest, and you're almost always above any inversion layer up at that altitude. Okay, let's talk about the weather. Salt Lake County has a high desert climate and weather conditions. This is exhibited normally by warmer days and cooler nights, with a bigger change in temperature between day and night, especially compared to back east, where the humidity is much higher and you get less of a temperature variance. One note about the humidity: we are a much drier state than most. What this means is if you're sensitive to dryness, you may want to put a humidifier in your home. Typically, we have about 54 inches of snow per year, usually from December to February, but very rarely do we get a lot of snow all at once, especially compared to back east. I think I plowed snow with my little Honda snowblower about 10 times last winter, and the deepest snow I remember was about 8 inches. Obviously, if you live in the mountains or higher elevations, you'll get more snow. Also, the further north you live, you'd get more snow. You also get less snow on the western side of the valley versus the eastern side. The mountains are taller there and you get more precipitation all year round. I live on the western side. One feature of the high desert is that the weather's always changing. As the joke goes here, if you don't like the weather in Utah, wait an hour. It's not unusual for it to snow in May or June, although it usually melts as soon as it touches the ground. So generally, Utah has 4 distinct seasons. Crime in Salt Lake County. One of the many reasons people move to Utah is because of our relatively low crime rate. And like other states, there's generally less crime in the suburbs or the country than there is in the big cities, so take that into account. Okay, let's look at this chart produced by bestplaces.net. So Utah is blue, and the national average is in black. Forgive me, this is that little Las Vegas thing from 2010. I could not get rid of that, so just ignore that. So this is how we compare nationwide. According to bestplaces.net, the Salt Lake County violent crime rate on their index is 15.7, while the national average is 22.7. Again, 100 being very high crime. The housing rental market. Like many other states, Utah has seen an increase in housing costs. This increase has cooled over the past couple of months due to the higher interest rates, but as the interest rates increase, more people will need rental properties. Currently, renters make up about 31% of the Utah market. Here's some average prices for rental units. You can see the chart here to the left, and these will vary by city, of course. The average studio apartment in the U.S. rents for about $950 a month. In Salt Lake County, it's about $924. The average one-bedroom apartment rents for $1,048. In Salt Lake County, it's about $1,100. The average two-bedroom apartment in the United States rents for about $1,278. In Salt Lake, it's about $1,327. The average three-bedroom is $1,681 in the U.S., and in Salt Lake County, it's about $1,843. So you can see we're a little higher there. And then the average four-bedroom is $1,950 in the United States and about $2,066 in Salt Lake County. As the interest rates go up and the economy fluctuates, we're going to see more and more need for rental units in Salt Lake County. The overall housing market. There are two major reasons why we moved from the San Jose, California area to Utah back in 1994. The first was to get a nicer house at a lower price, and the second was that I grew sick of hour-long commute times. So here's an interesting chart to look at while I'm talking, and this is the average commute times in Utah. I actually lived in Pleasanton, California for a while, and I had to commute over the San Mateo Bridge to Redwood City. But as you can see on the chart, the average commute time is about 22 minutes in Utah. If you're in Silicon Slopes, that's about halfway between Salt Lake City and Provo, Utah. So you can really pick where you want to live and stay easily within a 25-minute commute. Like most places in the U.S., housing prices have increased due to the abnormally low interest rates the last 5 years, and Utah was no exception. However, since COVID, the cost to build has skyrocketed. Additionally, the cost of fuel has doubled in the past 18 months. These pressures are starting to take effect, and home prices are not increasing like they were the last couple of years, especially the last 30 days. This is good for buyers if the interest rates are not prohibitive. As I tell many of my first-time home buyers who are shocked at 5%, my first home was 11%. The result of this slowdown is that buyers actually have a better chance of getting the house that they want because there are no longer 10 offers on every home. By the way, last year I sold one of my clients' houses in 2021 that had 22 offers. That was in 2 weeks. There's still many places in the valley in which you can buy a starter home for under $300,000, and these will increase as the number of sellers react to the slowing national market and start lowering their prices. One nice thing about Salt Lake County is we do have a large number of townhomes and condos, and these are good alternatives for the first-time home buyer. Having said all that, Salt Lake County is still a great place to buy a home. While the average single-family home price has increased over the last couple of years, is still much lower than many other places in the United States, especially California. I was looking at some statistics on the Utah MLS yesterday, and I noticed that 90% of the homes, the current listings, are lowering their price somewhat. So we are seeing a slowdown in the market. On average, our home prices are still about 1% lower than the overall national average, and like I said, much lower than places like California. I highly recommend watching two videos of mine if you're considering buying a home in Salt Lake County. The first one is buying a home on the east side of Salt Lake County, and the second one is buying a home on the west side, which typically has lower prices. I'll put up the links at the end of this video. If you want to consider Utah or Davis County, I also have some videos on those areas, as well as if you're working at Silicon Slopes, where you can live if you want to stay within a 30-minute commute. Thank you, and please call me anytime at 801-243-7804. See ya.